Viewers, this week, things get steamy, things get saucy, spicy, because we are going to get romantic. We're talking crashing waves on the shore, Rach. We're talking a storm brewing overhead. We're talking sexy guys with long hair and long sideburns. Long coats standing looking out to sea knowing my world's about to crumble. Because it's romance, baby!
Let you do the synopsis. That was pretty good. I don't think I have any questions.
Okay. What was your rating?
Well, I had it.
So this is from this movie this week. It's from the Romantic period, Rach. Did you know in history we had the Romantic period?
I did know that. I don't know when it is.
You're so wise. I can never impress you.
I did know that existed, and that has something to do with this time period, especially like the clothes.
Yeah?
The clothes give it away for me.
Oh, okay.
Romantic.
Yep. So,
Napoleon.
But okay, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong on this. So everyone will come after me after I say this.
Uh-oh.
Is Jane Austen romantic?
She's romantic. I don't know if she's in the romantic period.
I don't think she is.
What year are we talking?
So, okay. I'm glad you asked. So in Germany, the Sturm und Drang Storm and Stress movement happened in the 1700s. I think it was like mid to late 1700s. And with people like Heinrich von Kleist and Friedrich Schiller and those guys. So then that took a while to get to like France and then to England.
Oh, okay.
And so especially England, they're always late to every movement. They're like, we've just been freaking hanging out, doing our thing. And so they're a little bit later. I think, this is just me, I think in like France and England, it's like 1805 to like 1850.
Oh, well, that I think would be in line with Jane Austen.
She was like late 1700s, wasn't she?
Yeah, but maybe even early 1800s.
Yeah, maybe some of her stuff. Yeah. But I don't think she was.
Okay. There's no way to know.
there's
literally no way to know.
Ladies and gentlemen, you could look it up, but no one really knows. It's truly a mystery. Hey, I need to come clean about something. I messed up during our Braveheart episode.
Oh, okay. Throw it back.
I believe that I said that Genghis Khan came after Braveheart. I said he was like in the 1400s. I was maybe 200 years off.
Oh, that's it?
He came in the early 1200s.
Okay.
So if you want to think, he comes after Robin Hood. Mm-hmm. And like Richard the Richard the Lionhearted, and King John the asshole who steals all the money.
Yep.
It's like after that time, like right around that time, a little bit after.
Oh, okay.
So that's the Mongols. I was way off.
I mean, I think we can all agree to forgive and forget, but you're on a tightrope with this one.
I know, and we're going to have more history today.
You keep picking these historical epics, you're gonna get your toes burned in the fire.
Ooh.
Held to the fire and then burned in the fire.
Is that your favorite medieval torture, Rach?
Obviously. Burning toes.
I like the one that's like a roller coaster, where you're in a cart. I think this was in Germany because all the best torturers were in Germany. And then they'd put like a sword in the middle of the track. And so you'd be like, no! And then the cart would literally like take you into the sword and you get chopped in half.
Probably one of the more, I guess, humane ways to die.
Yes,
just fast.
sure, yep.
Some of those are just bad news.
Well, Rach, speaking of tortured hearts, can you tell the audience what our movie was today? And give us a brief synopsis.
Yes. So the title of this film, if you did not read it, if you just clicked ahead.
Yeah. Do you ever think people are like, you don't have to tell us what it is. We literally clicked on the title.
I think I know. The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
I don't think it has anything else in the title, right?
Nope.
It's not like the epic sweeping tale of the Count of Monte Cristo and friends.
And how he overcame 3 trials and tribulations and set aside the world to right frame of mind.
So the story follows Edmond Dantes, who is, by all accounts, a really good guy.
He is a good guy.
He is a really good guy. He's probably his biggest piece is he's probably a bit naive.
Yep.
And too trusting of other people.
And maybe he's too cute.
He's just too cute, which is obviously a big fallacy in this world. You should not be too cute. Essentially, he ends up getting put away for a crime that he didn't really commit. He was, again, his naivete kind of played into it. He accidentally got, tripped up with a little bit of treachery with Napoleon, a little bit of traitorship there, a little bit of treason. That's the word I was looking for. A little treason. He didn't know.
He didn't mean to.
He didn't mean to as accident.
Yeah. He can't read.
He can't read.
So Napoleon gives him a note. And
Yeah.
he's like, I can't read it.
Ow. But he's betrayed by his best friend, or who he thought was his best friend, but who's really just an a-hole, and he's so jealous of him, and he's just a jerk. And so Edmond Dantes, on the night of his engagement to the woman that he loves, he gets taken away to a jail meant for those who have been traitors to the country. So it's a jail that you're never going to get out of.
Yep.
You're just going to die there.
It's like Alcatraz.
Yes. It's like Alcatraz, but with Dumbledore.
Yes, Dumbledore is there.
The original Dumbledore. I don't know the actor's name.
Richard Harris.
Richard Harris.
Oh, by the way,
Yes?
quick little sidetrack. What Richard Harris versus the other guy? It has Dumbledore.
The newer Dumbledore?
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
Okay, it's hard because I don't know that Richard Harris would have been able to physically do the pieces that were needed of
Later.
Dumbledore later on.
Yeah.
So while I love him as an actor and I love his Dumbledoreisms, I think he was a little too late to the game. Had he been younger, like this,
Yeah.
he moves so well in this. He teaches him how to fight.
Whoa.
He's his cellmate essentially at this jail, and he is just he's masterful. He's wonderful.
Well, you're going to be surprised how late this is in his career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this
So
is right before Harry Potter.
this is right before Chamber of Secrets.
Oh.
He had already done Sorcerer's Stone.
So he was moving pretty
This
good
is
still.
2 years before his death.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so maybe.
Okay,
He
maybe
could have done it.
they saw this and were like, "No, we're good. Have you seen him sword fight?" He still got it.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, I take it back.
So he meets Dumbledore in the Chateau d'If, the Alcatraz of France.
The Alcatraz of France, and eventually escapes and comes across a large sum of money left to him by Dumbledore, and proceeds to plot his revenge on all those who have betrayed him under the guise of the Count of Monte Cristo. I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tale of love and revenge.
Yeah, lots of revenge.
Okay, so I saw this movie. This was a total whim. So imagine
Really?
Jeff, Mike, and I and our buddy David. Jeff, Mike, and I are like 3 childhood best friends. We're impressionable freshmen in high school, and we see commercials for Count of Monte Cristo. None of us have ever read this book. This book is 1,000,000 pages, by the way. I finally read it back in my late 20s, and it was literally 1,200 pages.
Oof.
And it was awesome. It was really good, but it's just a lot. It's a lot of content.
Did you saw the movie first?
I saw the movie way before.
Got it,
So I
got
saw
it.
it as a
Okay.
freshman,
Okay,
and
got
then
it.
read the book 16 years later.
Okay.
And so we saw this trailer, and we were like, oh, this movie seems kind of cool. Oh, there's Dumbledore. Oh, Jim Caviezel looks familiar. I think I've seen him in other things like Angel Eyes. And so then we were like, let's go give it a shot. And we went to it on a total whim. We all walked out, blown away. This is the same year as Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh,
So you've got
wow.
little kids
Okay.
running around pretending to be hobbits who are
Yeah.
fighting fake orcs with sticks when they're
Nice.
supposed to be dating girls.
Sweeping epics.
And
yeah.
then Count of Monte Cristo happens later that year. And so
Okay.
it's like, oh my gosh, this The best year of our lives?
A film renaissance that year,
I
I'd
feel
say.
like this is maybe the greatest year of my entire life. And I was just blown away by it. I think they liked it. I loved it.
This
So-
definitely struck a note with you.
Yep. And I remember, okay, nobody get me in trouble for this.
Are you going to use full names?
No.
Okay. That's my only
I'm going to
warning
out
you.
myself.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here's what happened. Tyler Eugene Hudson got in trouble because, well, he didn't actually get in trouble. He never got caught.
Oh.
He went home. He was so enamored with this movie that he went to, I don't know if it was BearShare or Kazaa or Napster, some random website downloading thing. And he downloaded his first ever movie.
Oh, my god.
And it was in 2 parts, and it was this movie. And then he watched it on his computer, and it looked terrible, looked like shit. But he'd invite his little brother up to his room, and Trev would sit on the floor, and I'd sit in my computer chair, and we would watch this movie on my computer. And we did that multiple times. It's a really fond memory I have of Trev.
Awesome. And you never got like the letter sent home to you that said like, hey, you better knock it
No.
off. We know what you did.
No, but so when Tyler Eugene had graduated, Tyler Cottonwood Hudson, and he was getting ready to go off and do Footloose in Mankato for the first time, he got in trouble for illegally downloading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the one with Token and Razor. And he got in trouble for that.
Completely worth it.
Oh, no, it was with Bebop and Rocksteady. It was the newer TMNT 2.
Okay.
Yep. I didn't want to confuse people.
Again, very essential and necessary to the
Necessary
story.
to clarify.
Thank you for that. We were all scratching our heads.
Yep. So, illegal downloaded movie that I just enjoyed over and over and over again.
In all of its blurry wonder.
So, let's get into some pre-production.
How many times have you seen this movie, would you guesstimate?
Less than I saw Braveheart.
Which was?
1,000,000 times.
1,000 times.
I've seen this one 1,000.
Okay.
I've seen this movie. I don't know. I can just compare it to other movies. I've seen this movie less than Gladiator even because
Okay.
Gladiator's on TV a lot more.
Yeah.
And I've seen it probably about the same amount as Troy.
Okay.
I like this more. I like this more than Gladiator.
These historical epics you just love.
I do. I've seen it less than Aladdin, and I've seen it less than American Pie.
All right.
So that kind of gives you
Got
a
it.
range.
Yep, I got it.
Where
I know
we're at.
exactly where we're at.
Okay, cool. How many times have you seen this movie?
2?
Is this number 2?
I think this is the second time I saw it.
You haven't-
Maybe third, but at least 2.
You haven't seen it since I showed it to you the first time?
Yeah, you showed this to me when we were swapping films.
We were just buddies?
We were just friends.
So this
is
was
why-
like my best friend's wedding, Little
Yeah.
Monsters, then you probably went to another one, and then I did this one.
Yeah, I don't. There probably was maybe one other time
Yeah.
in our 10 years together.
Oh,
of
yeah.
that's just marriage.
Hey, you should tell that story.
What?
That we watched this most romantic
Oh,
of
we
movies.
did watch it on our anniversary.
Well,
Happy
I guess it was our
anniversary to us.
anniversary's eve, but pretty much
Pretty
our
much.
anniversary, our
Yeah.
10-year anniversary.
So romantic.
So romantic.
So romantic. Okay, I'll say third time. This is the third time I've watched it.
Okay.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you remember it pretty well?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. So this, like I mentioned before, is one of my few movies that's based on a book. Boosh. So this came out in 1844. This is by Alexandre Dumas Pierre.
Dumas.
So the Pierre part means the father. Alexander Dumas, there's an older version.
Oh,
And then there's Alexander Dumas Fils, the son.
The son.
Yep.
Baby boy.
Okay, so the dad, he wrote this, Count of Monte Cristo. He wrote this kind of like Charles Dickens writes all his things, like serialized, like in little stories in different editorials.
Okay.
And then he mashed it all together to make a huge book. And he also did, do you know any of his other works?
I bet if you tell me, I will.
Three Musketeers.
Oh, I heard of
And The Man in the
that.
Iron Mask and those movies.
And such.
Yep. And then his son.
Uh-huh.
His son wasn't as much of a book writer, but he
Okay.
wrote a very famous play that you know the plot line of. I'm going to tell you the name of the play.
Okay.
And then you're going to tell me what was it adapted into that we both love.
Okay.
He wrote the play Camille.
Oh, okay. He wrote the play Camille, which
Mm-hmm.
later on becomes inspiration for. I just had it. Oh my gosh, Moulin Rouge. There it
Yes,
is.
I was going to go into the plot.
Nope, I got it.
Very nice, very nice.
I had it and it disappeared.
Yes,
Moulin Rouge.
so he wrote the Moulin Rouge inspiration.
More French stuff.
Yeah, more French biz. So the novel, this is going to be crazy.
Oh.
Yep, not to hype it up too much.
Well.
Believe this. It's based on a real story.
Oh, wait, what?
Alex-
That's pretty crazy.
So there was, around this time, there was a shoemaker
yes.
who was betrayed by 3 guys who all loved his filthy rich wife. She was beautiful and she was super rich, and they thought she married the shoemaker. She could have had anybody.
Yeah.
She married the stupid shoemaker. F this guy. Let's betray him. We'll get him jailed. We'll do all this stuff, and one of us will steal his wife.
And then one of us will marry her
Yeah.
for 3 years at a time. And
No.
then I'll get her for 3 years at a time.
So get this. They frame him for treason. He gets arrested. He gets assigned, kind of like in Les Miserables, he gets assigned to a wealthy priest.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there's this super wealthy priest who that guy like uses him as a servant, like teaches him a bunch of stuff. Hey, poor shoemaker, let me teach you the ways of the world and make you a better person. And then he tells him like, you can have all my wealth when I die, but don't use it for treachery. Don't go get your vengeance.
Oh, no.
The guy takes all the money after he dies and he says, now it's time for the vengeance, baby. And so one of those betrayers married his wife. He like ruins the other 2. But the one that marries his wife has like a terrible ending. He gets his daughter tricked into marrying like a thief. He gets her to fall in love with this thief and dresses the thief up to be like a noble guy, but he's not. So she marries off to this guy who's terrible.
Oh, no.
And then he gets his son to steal a bunch of jewels. And then shows the police like he stole all these jewels.
Wait, these are the kids of his previous wife and his and her new husband?
Yes.
Not his kids, obviously.
Not his kids. Yeah.
Oh, but they're still partially her kids.
Yes, exactly.
Ooh.
And so then the son gets caught, gets shipped off to prison.
Uh-huh.
And then he stabs and kills the main guy who stole his wife. And so he gets
Wow.
ultimate vengeance.
Wow. And does he get the girl in the end?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
I think she probably would say, you screwed my daughter and son over. I
did
hate
nothing
you for the
wrong."
rest of my life. You're the
Yeah.
worst.
That part he didn't think out too far. But the rest of it's pretty great.
Pretty cool, huh?
Wow.
So this title actually comes from a trip that Alexander Dumas went on with Napoleon's nephew. They went on this like little joyride through the Mediterranean on a ship,
Fun.
just gallivanting all over
Couple of
the
guys
seas.
on the med.
A couple of guys heading to Monte Cristo, and so he saw this and he was like, "This island is an awesome inspiration for this story that I'm cooking up that kind of goes along with that shoemaker story." And then he made it into that serialized editorial, and then he put it all into one big book, and it becomes the most famous book in Europe
Oh.
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but Alexander Dumas is BIPOC.
Oh, no. I
He
didn't know
is. His father was known as the Black Count. And he was a soldier in Napoleon's army. He was known as like super vicious and stuff. And he was, I think he was half black. And so Alexander Dumas is a quarter.
Okay.
So, but like for him to become as famous as he was pretty like startling at the time. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. For him to kind of trump that. But if you ever wanted to go to that island, do you want to go to Monte Cristo?
Not necessarily, no. I know you probably do, but like...
Yeah, you can't understand the disappointment I have when you just said that.
Well, I just like, I don't know what's on it. What's entice me? Is it just rocks? Is
I
it
don't
just
know. There might be
rubble?
treasure.
Well,
You know what I bet they do? I bet they have like a fake treasure thing. They're like, oh, hey, here's some fake gold coins you
think
could
so?
buy. It's like, yeah, I'll buy them. How much?
I don't know. It's going to be like a big boat ride. It's going to be like $300 for
Oh,
a day trip.
Yeah, the chop will make me puke over the side for sure.
I mean, if you want, we can figure it out in the itinerary.
Well, we probably will never go because here's the deal. There's a 3-year waiting list.
Oh.
And you have to put your name in, like, you should put your name in right now because
okay.
it's a nature preserve and only 1,000 people can go every year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, 3 years, that feels right. Let's get planning. Let's put your name in.
Okay.
I'm
well,
serious.
what about you?
Our name. Let's put our name in.
Nah, let's just do me.
Okay, cool.
So I want to talk about how this bad boy gets made into a film. And just to clarify for our audience, there's like 50 adaptations for the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, really?
We're doing the 2002. Like, we're not doing the 1930s movie with some cool sword fighting, but it would probably be really boring. Never seen it. We're not going to do like one of the other 1,000 adaptations. We're going to do the 2002. And for that guy, a dude named Jay Wolpert is the screenwriter. And he thought, this Count of Monte Cristo story is pretty cool. But in the original story, Fernand Mondego, the main bad guy, he's the cousin to Mercedes, the love interest.
Oh.
And they're like best friends.
Oh.
And so it's more about he's like super close with her and jealous of Edmund and not like, oh, you're my best friend and you get the girl, you get everything. And I'm jealous of that. And so this Jay Wolpert's like, how cool would it be if they became best buds instead? What do you think?
I think that's more effective.
Way more effective.
Yeah. Because as a first cousin, I mean, this is different times, but was he motivated to like be with her then? Did he want to marry her?
He did. And it was almost like they grew up as kids together.
Sure.
And were childhood friends. And I think he always thought that they were going to get married. And so then when she falls in love with Edmund, he's like, he feels betrayed by her.
Sure. Yeah, no, I like it better this way.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I like it because in that version, he's not super wealthy right off the bat. But in this one, he's like a cocky little rich kid.
Yeah. Can I like say one of my favorite lines already for it? He says, when he has betrayed him and Edmond Dantes is like, why? Just tell me why. He's like, because you're the son of a clerk and I'm not supposed to want to be you.
Oh, I love it.
Why? In God's name, why? Because you're the son of a clerk. And I'm not supposed to want to be you.
I love it.
It's good.
Mercedes has a great line, too, where she talks about them as kids because they kind of play it like they all three grew up together.
Sure.
And Mercedes is like, well, remember that time where you got that beautiful horse and Edmund got that whistle? And Edmund was running around playing his whistle all the time, and you didn't care about your horse, and you were jealous of that whistle. He's like, I'm not going to be your next whistle.
Yeah.
I know what you want, Fanon.
You did?
Remember when we were little kids and Edmund got that whistle for his birthday and you got a pony? And you were so mad that Edmund was happier with his whistle than you were with your pony. And I'm not going to be your next whistle.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like,
That's a good
that
one.
puts it into perspective so well. So there's a ton of differences between the book and the movie. We're not going to get into all of them. I just want to talk about a few of them, though, a few of the biggies. So the book starts, you never see the Napoleon scene, which is super exciting. You never see Edmund and Fernand like running around,
That's kind of
getting
a
to meet
cop-out.
Napoleon, all this stuff with the captain. They just talk about it. And so you never get to see any of that cool
That's
stuff.
a very long book for them to leave that part out.
Yeah, well, there's so much superfluous bullshit in that
Sure.
that you're like, what? Who's getting married to each other? It's like kids get involved.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
lot of kid stuff. Like pretty much everybody who's big in this movie has a kid, and they're intertwined as well. And the count is like, yeah, let me get you to hook up with so-and-so, and so then your dad's gonna be mad at you.
okay.
And there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Shenanigans.
So let's talk about how the ending is for all these baddies, though. There's three main baddies
Yep.
in this movie.
Don't ask me their names.
Do you remember any of their names?
Nope. Just the main baddie.
Who's the main baddie?
Fernand.
Yep, Fernand Mondego.
Yep.
So he's baddie number one. That's Guy Pearce.
Yeah, Guy Pearce.
So
Great
you've got
villain.
You've got Guy Pearce, and then you have Danglars. He's the ship guy.
Yep,
He's
the
ugly.
first mate kind of guy who gets passed over in a promotion to
Yep.
Edmond Dantes because he was so noble, trying to save the
Absolutely.
captain's life. So that's his MO.
And then you have Villefort.
Villefort. Oh, he just sounds like a villain,
Doesn't he? Yes, he's a magistrate. He's like a politician. He's been working for the new government who hates Napoleon.
Yes.
And do you want to talk about what is going on with his dad?
Yeah, so his dad is, I don't know if we would call it a loyalist as far as like
for sure.
a Napoleonist. Maybe that's a thing.
Yep.
So they're a bit at odds with each other politically. And one of the reasons why he ends up sending Edmond Dantes to the Chateau d'If is because the letter that he confiscates from Edmond Dantes basically shows that his father is a traitor and has been responding back and forth with Napoleon. And he's like, well, how would this look if this came out? And so just to make sure that nobody finds out about it, even the guy who didn't read the letter and doesn't know, he decides to burn the letter so there's no proof.
He burned the letter.
Think, Edmund.
I'm trying.
What happened? He asked me, did Napoleon tell you he was supposed to pick up this letter?
I told him. Monsieur Clarion.
And nothing more.
Nothing. He burned the letter and said I could go.
He burned the letter.
Think about it. And then sent him off to prison for life.
Yep.
So there you have it.
So in the book, what happens to all these guys is Edmund shames Fernand and like takes away everything, and then he's like, I'm shamed, and then he kills himself. It's so super lame.
Oh, yeah.
And then Villefort, he goes crazy. He's like, oh my God, so much stuff is happening to me. Oh, I'm crazy now. And then Danglars loses a bunch of money, and his daughter, her name is Eugenie, she marries another guy, and he's like, no, don't marry him. So it's all kind of like a lot.
Very passive.
It's kind of a lot lamer. Like it's
Very
like it's
lame.
more psychological. It's like, yeah, gotcha, rather than gotcha.
Yeah.
You know.
Huh.
And then one of the craziest things is Mercedes, Edmund almost kills Albert.
So Albert is...
Yes, I haven't even talked about who Albert is.
Albert is Mercedes' son.
The love interest.
The love interest.
I feel like the audience is very unclear. We're going to post like a tree, like a family tree.
It's just
for you
hard.
guys.
They're all French names, so it's very complicated.
Yep.
Albert, when he meets Albert is 16 years old, and he assumes that Albert is the son that Mercedes has with
Fernand, the
Fernand,
main bad guy.
The main bad guy,
The
his
best friend.
ex-best friend. So he doesn't owe this kid anything. He's like, I might as well kill you too.
Yep.
But come to find out that no, Albert is actually Edmond Dantes' son, because the two of them did a little hooking up the night before he went to jail.
They might
so-
have bumped uglies on the beach.
Maybe.
Yes. Oops.
Maybe. Which also helps explain why Mercedes rushes to marry somebody right after she finds out that Edmund is gone, because she's with child and she's basically going to be ruined, and she needs somebody to support her baby.
And I love that because it makes sense why she rushes off so fast, because the Count even says, like, why'd you go marry this guy so fast? If you really loved Edmund so much, why'd you marry this other dude? And she's like, I'm not going to talk about that. I loved you. I loved Edmund and stuff.
This Edmund. You loved him.
Yes.
For how long?
For all of my life.
And how long after he died before you married the Count?
That isn't fair.
But it really like makes sense for her character that she was freaking pregnant.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
She was going to be like an old spinstress otherwise. Like she
ruined.
had to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not in the book.
Oh,
Albert is Fernand's kid. And Edmund almost kills him.
Yeah, I bet.
And then Mercedes like, please, if you ever loved me, Edmund, don't kill Albert. And he's like, fine. But I hate you. You suck, Mercedes. And Mercedes like, you've taken everything from me. My husband's now killed himself and you don't love me anymore. And she just ends up...
She go crazy too.
She honestly has like a super sad ending. Like where she's just like, it's me, my son. I hope my son's cool because everybody else sucks. And he ends up with this girl named Heidi, who's like this slave Turkish girl
Very
who's
cool.
like, yeah, I'm sexy and I'm foreign and everything. And you were betrayed and I was betrayed. I used to be a princess, but I'm a slave. And
Oh, that's
and
a
so then
spicy
they
little
fall in
side
love.
story. We should
Yeah.
have included
But she's
some of that.
she's like the age of what could be his daughter, though. And people like really play that up. They're like, she's so young. How cool is that?
Very up top.
Typical,
up top, buddy. Very
typical
cool.
1840s France. They're like, yeah, we
yeah.
give high fives all around. She's 20 years younger. Heck
Very-
yeah, bro,
Very
killing
French.
it.
Very French.
So, major differences from the book. We won't get into a lot of the other stuff, but just know that they're extremely different. But I love what the movie did.
Yeah.
They tied up a lot of loose ends. They just
Yeah.
tightened everything up. The screenwriter, you deserve so much credit. You're freaking awesome.
Big fans. Big fans of you.
Can you believe this is a Disney movie?
Oh, really?
Yep.
What's it rated? PG?
PG-13.
Okay.
So it's not distributed by Walt Disney Studios. They wanted it to be originally. They thought, like, let's have it be like an action-packed, like, live-action thing. Like, I think Hidalgo is one. Do you remember that horse movie with Viggo Mortensen? Okay.
Yep.
They have, like, certain movies that were, like, kind of adventure-y that they were trying to explore back in the early 2000s. And then they decided with this one, they're like, it's a little dark. I don't know. And so they ended up giving it to like one of their smaller studios that's not from Disney, but it's under the Disney umbrella.
Sure. Well, that's nice. That's where they got all those cool gold coins for this.
Yeah.
How else were they gonna make that
From
money?
the Pirates of the Caribbean set. They're like, just bring them on over on the same ships.
Perfect.
So the director, his name is Kevin Reynolds, and this dude loves Kevin Costner.
Oh.
He did Robin Hood with Kev.
Got it.
He did Waterworld with Kev.
Yep.
And then he does Count of Monte Cristo, fortunately, without Kev.
Was he gonna try to get Kevin?
No, I don't have any research that says he was going to cast Kev. But,
that's good.
okay, can you imagine that?
No, I don't want to. It's not the same movie.
Yeah, it's terrible is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be bad. Jim Caviezel is very attractive.
Oh!
He's very handsome.
I have a thing later on in the podcast, but we could get into it right now if you want to rate his hotness.
Okay. Compared to
Um,
just a scale of 10?
Okay, let's play a game called Hottest Version of Jim Caviezel in this movie. Because there's many sides of Jim.
Yeah, he goes into incognito, and you can't
Yes.
really tell it's him with his long hair and his little goatee.
Okay, so I wanna take us through all these versions.
Okay.
So just to refresh your memory.
Yep.
There's very first Jim Caviezel, young and naive, clean shaven, just little curly hair, you know, very cute, playing with his hair all the time, like a little cutie. And then second version. He's in jail. He's got a long, scraggly beard, long, scraggly hair. He looks like
Nasty
Sirius
teeth.
Black before he gets out of the
Yes,
jail.
yes.
He looks crazy. Then number 3, he's now like a pirate. He's looking for the treasure. His beard is he's trimmed up his beard a little bit. He's cut his hair, but not all the way. He just looks like a little dangerous. And then there's version number, what are we on, 4? Version number 4, the Count. His hair is very like flowy. He looks very
Slicked back.
romantic. And he's got this beautiful little goatee, the Van Dyke is I think what we call that. And so he's got the goatee. And then the final version, which is all the same, only he trims his goatee. So he's clean shaven, but he's still got the flowy Duke hair, the Count hair.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Which one do you think my favorite is?
The first one. Babyface.
Babyface is super cute, but I'm gonna go the last one actually.
Ooh.
The clean shaven, but we still got Count hair.
Yeah? What's number 2?
Probably pirate.
Oh, pirate.
Yeah, a little
You're
rough
like
on
a
the
little
edges.
rough on the edges.
A little pirate.
Who's your least favorite?
The jail version with the nasty teeth, the Sirius Black teeth.
So Van Dyke is sorry, I just spit on you.
Spit on me.
Van Dyke is pretty low.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
I've had to do the
the.
Van Dyke for so many shows.
I know you have.
And you hate it.
It's not my favorite, but I love you.
Yeah, there's times I had to play a character named Wessex in Shakespeare in Love, and my character looked somewhat, I mean, it was in 300 years before, but like, it somewhat looked like this.
Yeah.
And you hated it.
It's not my favorite look on you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just good to know. But listen to this.
Okay.
You thought Jim Caviezel was hot? You're going to think the person who originally was going to be cast is way hotter. Because their first person that they were going to go with is maybe the biggest action star on the history of the planet.
Ever? Mel Gibson.
No. No. That would have been an interesting choice. He would have been too old, but it would have been interesting.
Tom Cruise.
No. More action.
More action than Tom Cruise?
Yes, way more action than Tom Cruise.
Oh.
Think biggest action star ever.
And you keep saying that like that's
Think
helpful.
rippling muscles. Think machine guns going. Think
Arnold
blood.
Schwarzenegger?
Ding, ding,
No.
ding.
What?
Arnold Schwarzenegger was the first person who was offered this role
No.
of Edmond Dantes.
What?
He turned down the role because he was just getting his political career going before he became the Gov.
Thank God.
Can you imagine?
Can you?
He would, and we're not talking about young Arnold. We're not talking about Conan the Barbarian Arnold even. We're talking about an Arnold who is like 50 years old.
It doesn't matter what Arnold we're talking about. It's wrong. It's just plain wrong. He can't play this role.
What would it even any of it have looked like?
He's gonna be this like little ship guy at the very. Yeah, I'm just a little naive guy. I can't read, so I gave this. Like what? That doesn't make any sense. Caviezel works because you believe it. You believe that he's just like this like young pup who then like becomes this like killing machine. But Arnold, come on.
Yep.
Oh, that would be awful.
It would have been miraculous to see what that would have been like. So their second person that they turned to, but they ended up switching directions, was Guy Pearce.
Oh, to play that one.
They were going to cast Guy Pearce as the Count.
He just doesn't have the wholesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
He's a wonderful villain.
Yeah, isn't he?
I think he looks like a great villain.
Well, and he's been a villain in other things too. Like he's in Iron Man. He's the villain in Iron Man 3. He just has this unique quality about him. Like he's super interesting and like as these like anti-hero characters too, like in Memento. And I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but he's super good in that.
I have. I can't remember a lot of it.
Hey, that makes sense. He can't either. But yeah, he's an interesting cat. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Boy is the best.
Yeah. Great choice. Great choice, guys.
So if you don't know Jim Caviezel, he was in Thin Red Line. He's amazing in Thin Red Line. He's the best part of that whole movie. Him and Adrian Brody. He's in Frequency. He's in Passion of the Christ. And then he's in Rach's favorite movie, Angel's Eyes. Angel's Eyes or Angel Eyes? I can't remember which one.
It's Angel Eyes.
Angel Eyes.
Yep.
With Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, really?
Oh, you've never seen it?
Is that the one we're talking about?
I've seen parts of it.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it.
And then he was doing that Person of Interest show.
Person of Interest?
Yeah, it was on back in like 2015-ish to like 2020. But Caviezel, I think we had talked about him earlier in the season. Because I have written down, Caviezel is not Jewish, Rach. Yeah. Did you say he was Jewish at one point?
Yeah, I think I was kind of going for the reality that with which Mel Gibson cast him for Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ.
I'll be honest, I thought he looked it, but you're right. He does. His eyes are. He's got like. Does he have blue eyes?
He has very blue eyes.
All right.
He was Irish, Swiss, and Slovakian.
And none of those are Jewish.
Nope, not even close.
That's a wee bit of a problem, but yeah.
Oh, you know what I forgot Guy Pearce is in? Guy Pearce is in King's Speech.
Who's he in King's Speech?
He plays the older brother to Colin Firth. He's the one who abdicates.
Oh, Edward.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding.
No kitten.
No kitten.
So we talked about Richard Harris. He's the cutest. He plays Abi Faria, or they call him in this movie.
Who? What?
Well, his name is Abi Faria, but you don't need to know that. What do we call him in this movie, though?
Dumbledore?
We refer to him as the priest.
The priest. Oh, yeah. Like, I'm so lost right now. What? You throw out too many names.
He was in Camelot. He was in Gladiator.
Yeah.
Plays the Emperor in Gladiator. He's in The Field. Have you ever seen The Field?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's an Irish movie. Super good. And he's in Unforgiven. And he's Dumbledore. He's the best. He's awesome. Mercedes. Mm-hmm. Mercedes is played by Dagmara Dominicic.
Ooh.
How do we know Dagmara, Rach?
Well, I don't know what else she had done prior to this, or
a lot of random stuff.
Okay.
Nothing that you'd probably recognize, though.
Yeah, or like immediately after this, gorgeous person.
Oh my gosh, her curls! She has the curliest black hair, the cutest freaking thing in the world.
But we found her again later in life in a little show called Succession on HBO.
You know what's so funny? I didn't know it was her. Like, you don't see her a ton in season 1, but she's there. But I didn't recognize her until season 2. Mm-hmm. Well, like in the middle of season 2, all of a sudden I was like, "Oh my God, it's Mercedes!" It took a long time.
Yeah, she's kind of one of the assistants. Like you said, she doesn't have a ton of like lines and stuff, but she's
in
kind of
every
always
episode.
around, and you're like, who is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wild.
And then we get to see a very young Albert, played by
Henry Cavill?
Yep.
Is that how I say it?
Yep.
Baby Superman.
Baby Superman.
One of the baby Supermen.
He's only 7 years younger than Dagmara, than his mom.
Oh, what?
Yeah, in this movie.
Very
They're that
cool.
close in age.
Yeah, they are that close.
What do you mean? Why are you saying it like that? Why are you being creepy about it?
We don't know what happened.
Hey, how nice was it to see her and Jim make out?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very
Super
nice.
saucy.
But he was also Count Jim, so it was
Oh,
less nice.
yeah. But what about at the beginning when he's babyface Jim?
Very nice. Very nice again.
Yes, I knew you'd say so. So Henry is on The Tudors after this, that TV show,
Oh, okay.
and then obviously becomes Superman. But did you know this? Get this. Superman Returns. This
I've heard
is
of it.
the Superman movie that came out in like the mid 2000s. This is the one where they cast the Iowa boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So not only was
Off
Henry.
a small town? Was he on that show first?
No, he wasn't. He
Oh,
just
okay.
was
I'm
a.
thinking of somebody
He was a
else.
no name pretty much, and they
Oh,
gave him
okay.
a huge break.
Got it.
And so Henry Cavill was up for Superman the first time.
Oh.
They didn't give it to him. Guess who he was called back against? They were both finalists for the role, and that ended up going to the Iowa boy. He was up against Jim Caviezel
What?
for Superman.
He's a bit old for Superman, wasn't he?
Yeah,
time?
I think Superman doesn't have to be super young because I didn't think Henry Cavill was that young when he first did it.
Yeah. Ah, interesting.
Yeah, my whole thing is maybe a little scrawny for.
I was gonna
Superman.
say, are you gonna like really bulk up?
I feel
for
like
that?
I could have seen him more as Spider-Man than I could have as Superman.
Yeah,
but-
it's not that he's not in good shape, but I mean, there's a certain. I mean, Arnold has a better shot at being Superman.
Yeah.
and I would hate that.
Arnold would have been a great like Bizarro Superman,
Ooh,
like the
yeah.
bad version.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Henry's first big role though, and fans shortly after this. So this comes out before Chamber of Secrets, so we're still a couple movies away. Henry's on The Tudors, and his fans know that Prisoner of Azkaban is coming up, and they write in for him to play a certain role. They flood
Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yep, they flood the mail lines saying Henry needs to play this role. This character gets introduced in Prisoner of Azkaban. He's a bigger character in Goblet of Fire.
Oh, okay. It's Cedric.
Yes.
I was gonna say, like, is he in Azkaban? Oh, okay.
Yep. And the producers ignore all the fan calls for it, and they're like, nope, we're going with our
We
Pats.
got our guy, who just recently I found out. A little side note for you.
Uh-huh.
You know that whole scientific ratio piece for people's faces, and like there's like a certain like
Oh, the split
measurement.
in half, yeah. Like you
of,
said, Jessica Alba.
Symmetry. People who have perfect faces who are technically like the most attractive people. Jessica Alba.
Yep.
It has one of those faces. He has the most attractive face for men.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Would you
I
say?
don't know that I would say that.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, where would you put him in top 10 hottest people?
I think he's in that infinite space between 15 and 20.
Okay, gotcha.
He's very attractive. I mean, his Twilight days.
Oh, we're talking about our Pats.
Yeah. who
Oh,
are
I thought you were talking about Henry Cavill.
No, I'm talking about our Pats.
Oh, our
Pats.
Pats.
Yeah, I don't know about Cavill's face. I'm talking about our Pats face.
Oh,
Robert Pattinson.
There's no way our Pats is a top 20er.
That's
Did you see
the
him
scientists.
in the Batman movie with his goofy ass hair?
They
and
don't
is it-
take care into account in these measurements.
No, they don't?
No, I don't think
Because
so.
I think they should.
Yeah, it was really
That's
great.
ridiculous. So Luis Guzman, he plays Jacopo.
Yes.
Did you recognize him from anything else?
All sorts of things.
Yeah, he is in a lot of things.
I can't tell you what, but he's in all the things.
He was in that Waiting movie. He's one of the guys that
Yeah.
show the balls all the time.
Yeah,
And then
can't remember that.
he's in the new Wednesday show. He's
Oh.
opposite Catherine Zeta-Jones. He plays Gomez.
Oh, he's Gomez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not watched that, but yes, says that he's just all over the place.
And then, okay, this is the last guy I'll mention. Well, actually, we'll do two more. So James Frane, he plays Villefort. He's the magistrate. He's the political guy.
Mm-hmm. You look familiar too.
He's in a movie that you might have seen. This is why I was going to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Where the Heart Is. It's got Natalie Portman and Ashley Judd in it. And he plays the main guy.
Oh, I think I've seen that maybe one time.
So you have seen it.
I think so,
It came out in the early 2000s, I think.
but I couldn't tell you what the story is and what part of that he would play in it.
No, that's okay. I just
Yeah.
thought it maybe would be a movie that would have come
Maybe.
across.
Maybe.
That you would have come across in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then Helen McCrory. you mentioned you saw her. She plays this random character.
Oh, yeah.
Who,
yeah.
it's funny, her character is way different in the book. She's like the daughter to Villefort, but in this, she's his wife? Or
Yeah.
maybe his mom who was married to his dad and then becomes his wife. I don't know. It's all unclear.
Yeah, I thought that or his sister. I thought he said his
Yeah.
sister or his wife. I think they changed it halfway through the movie. I was confused.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they were because it's not anything like what the plot is for the other one. So, what is she from?
She is also from Harry Potter, and
Uh-huh.
she is Malfoy's mom.
Yep. Or if you've seen Peaky Blinders, she's the main gal in that.
Oh.
And she's really
I
good.
should know what her name is.
Helen McCrory,
No, I know that, but like Malfoy's mom is not
Mrs. Malfoy.
Mrs. Malfoy.
Lucille Malfoy. She's not Lucius. And then, we have to mention this person. The jailer.
Oh my gosh, he's so great. The
Michael
jailer.
Wincott.
Woo.
Coolest voice ever. Rach, how do you know Michael Wincott? He's been in other Summers Off movies.
He was in, gosh, what season was that we did The Crow?
Season 3?
He's the main baddie
Season 4?
in The Crow.
Yes.
He's such a good villain.
Oh, he's so good.
He's great in this. He doesn't have like a ton of screen time, but he
Yep.
doesn't need it because he's that good.
Yep, he's in Three Musketeers. He's great at sword stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also in Nope. He's
in Nope.
the film guy who comes at the end and he's like turning the little reel while they're trying to film the
Oh,
UFO. And he keeps
yes.
changing out film and I think he ends up dying in it. Sorry,
Yep.
spoiler. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, he's in that movie. He's got that
that's
just
right.
coolest voice.
He's got a great voice.
Oh, he's got great lines. Rach, do you want to do one of his lines?
From this?
Yes.
I don't know his lines from this.
Okay, here, I'm
But
gonna do
why not?
one.
I've only seen this 3 times.
And then I'm going to pass the iPad to you, and then you can do the next line, because I know you know the next one better.
Okay.
So there's this moment where Edmund is like, God is everywhere. And he goes, let's make a bargain. You ask God for help, and I'll stop when he shows up.
And if you're thinking just now, why me, oh God? The answer is, God has nothing to do with it. In fact, God is never in France this time of year.
God has everything to do with it. He's everywhere. He sees everything.
All right. Let's make a bargain, shall we? You ask God for help, and I'll stop the moment he shows up.
And he whips the shit out of him.
Oh, he's so good.
Okay.
Such a good baddie.
Here's the other one.
Ooh. I haven't got all day. Actually, I do. I've got all the time in the world.
And then he has this great, yes. He has this great laugh. I freaking love it.
Come on, I haven't got all day. Actually, I do. I've got all the time in the world.
Speaking of the God stuff, so there's this marker on the jail cell. This is in the book too, where it says God will give me justice, and they talk about like Edmund comes in believing in God, and then at some point he like loses his faith. He's like, God, I hate God, and he calls Richard Harris priest and everything. And there's just all this God talk. So that's like a total romantic staple, like people falling out of like
In and
it's
out of
about human
judgment
in nature, and like God is screw religion, and like it's you find the spirits in the sea and stuff like that. But what did you think about all the God talk? Was it ever overbearing?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I think it matched the time. I mean, you think about religion and really anything at a certain point, like that was like a third of the day.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
was kind of devoted to feeling that and talking about that. I think it's interesting that I don't know if he comes like back around quite. Like there's a moment where before he and Mercedes are gonna kiss, and she tells him that God is in everything, you know, and then they kiss passionately.
But God has offered us a new beginning. Don't slap his hand away.
Can I never escape him?
No. He is in everything. Even in a kiss.
Oh,
So
yes.
I do think that there's a little bit of full circleness there.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. You're right. He never like explicitly says like, and now I believe in God again. He doesn't ever say that. That's true.
No, but at the very end, like when he is with his family again, and he's kind of like talking to the ocean, and he's talking to the priest, you know, in his way. I think, like, why would you be talking to the priest if you don't believe in an afterlife or God?
That's
but you're
true.
talking to the priest in your thoughts. So part of me's like, I think he's come back around.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yep. You saw this when the credits were rolling. Where did this filming take place at?
Oh, that's right. Oh, no, I forgot already.
That's okay. I can give it to you.
Was there some Ireland in there?
There was some Ireland. They filmed in County Wicklow, which is just south of Dublin.
Oh, very nice. What parts of that were filmed there? Like the ocean stuff?
think-
The cliffs?
No, I think, well, maybe some of the cliffs, but I don't know about south of Dublin. That's like a lot of lowland stuff. I think it was a lot of like the castle, like the big estate, that was there.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's called the Powerscourt House. And so a lot of the, where the Count, all his stuff takes place at, that was in Ireland.
The hot air balloon entrance.
Yes.
Very cool.
Ooh, what'd you think of that hot air balloon
I
entrance?
thought it was a bit gauche, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Do you like how when he lands, when his like little rope girls are doing like acrobatic stuff as they come down, and they bring him down, and he like makes his grand entrance with fireworks and everything too, and he just walks up to everybody and goes, "Greetings."
Yeah.
He walks away.
That's a good impression.
Boosh.
Fireworks, 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 fireworks. Wow, who's that guy?
Hey. That's pretty much the equivalent.
Sup, everybody?
Sup. So the other half of this movie was filmed in Malta.
Malta.
The island of Malta,
Ooh.
which is off Ireland. And the Chateau d'If, that's an
Off
old...
Ireland?
Or off of Italy.
Italy, yeah.
And the Chateau d'If, that's from an island off of... Or it's an old castle in Malta. I don't know if it's on an island. It might just be on the coast. But it's pretty cool looking.
Very cool looking.
During filming, Dumbledore turned 70. Richard Harris was only 70.
Oh my gosh.
He dies at
only 70.
He dies at 72.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wild.
So he dies 2 years later, but they threw him a huge birthday bash on the set. That was
Yeah.
supposedly pretty fun. And then, you know the last fight scene in the movie?
The
Between
one where they're out
Fernand
in
and
the,
Edmund?
in the field. Yep.
Yes, yep.
Yes. Such good fighting.
Yes, very good fight scene. Fernand is about to leave, and then he's like, "No, I'm not going to let him live, and I'm going to run away and lose everything." And he comes back and challenges him.
Now I couldn't live in a world where you have everything and I have nothing.
I love that part. They have that final fight scene. Well, the first time they filmed it, it was in the fall, and the grass looked terrible.
Oh,
it was all
no.
dead and burnt and everything, and it looked super spotty. So then they decided to reshoot it all in the spring, and then they intermixed all the clips because certain clips looked better from the fall shoot.
Oh,
and so I guess
interesting.
you can tell when the shoot was. But one thing we noticed when we watched that scene, what was in the background, Rach, of certain shots?
A rainbow.
The most beautiful rainbow.
A rainbow. Could you tell the shots that were dried versus
Nope.
green? Nope.
Nope. I never notice these things. I just say them on the pod for those people who are like, "Yeah, I'm going to look for that."
I'm not.
But
yeah.
no, I had even done this format, and I was like, "Oh, I
Before
don't
that,
see
you
it."
didn't know.
No. I was looking for in Braveheart in one of the fight scenes. There's a car that's like coming up behind like all the soldiers,
oh,
and I
really?
couldn't find it anyway. I was like, I don't know, I can't
That'd
find
be
it.
pretty hard to miss, you'd think.
Yep. So during that fight scene, Jimmy ran Guy Pearce through on the side.
Oh,
It went
no.
through him, like through his flesh.
I understand what running through means.
And then Jim
my
felt
gosh.
terrible about it, and Guy was like, "It's okay, it's okay." They sent him to the emergency room right away. He got patched up, and then the rest of the shoot, Jim just kept apologizing. He's like, "I'm so sorry, I can't believe this happened. It's
Oh
such a
my
huge mistake."
gosh.
And Guy Pearce loved it. He was like, "Are you kidding me? I got ran through on the set of Count of Monte Cristo. This is one of the coolest things that could happen to a person."
The fighting in this is so good. The sword
So
fighting, the stakes are
good.
so high. Especially like my favorite fights are like the desperate ones where he's going to his friend And he's saying, like, they're coming for me. And he's like, well, I have to turn you over, and like the whole line about, like, I'm not supposed to want to be you. But he's just so desperate. So, like, sometimes he's just, like, putting his hand up to the blade.
Yeah.
And it's just,
And Guy Pearce is just, like, slicing Jim Caviezel's hands.
Doing it.
And then he does this moment where Jim doesn't know what to do. And he's like, get away from the windows or whatever. And Jim has, like, thrown stuff at him. He's like, I have nothing else to do. Yeah. So he just, like, charges at him. And Guy Pearce does this little flick.
Yeah.
And he does it twice. And you just know it goes right into Jim Caviezel's stomach and out of it, but not enough to kill him.
Yeah.
It's just like puncture wound.
Yeah.
And like the way Jim Caviezel acts, it's so painful. And you're just like, oh my gosh, that's good. I love this fight. It's one of my favorite fights ever. So this film releases January 25th, 2002, once again of our freshman year.
Oh, it's my sister's birthday.
Rach, you were, oh my gosh, which one?
Tori's.
Oh, is this Tori's?
Yeah.
When's Nat's birthday?
15th.
Oh, my, yeah, because they're all around each other. And then
15, 25, 30.
Oh, jeez. And Johnny, one of my best friends is like right around there too. He's maybe the 26th or 24th.
There's a lot to be celebrating in
Here's
January.
what I always say. When you hit January 15th, just be on your toes. Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming.
Lots of cake.
Yep. So the film releases that day in our freshman year. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you're interested in boys at this time, probably dating or in between relationships. I'm pretending to like girls, but I'm too busy like watching American Pie and Cruel Intentions every night, and then falling in love with things like Lord of the Rings and Count of Monte Cristo.
Very cool.
So that's where my heart is.
That's where you're at.
I'm thinking about Mercedes while you're thinking about Joe Schmo on the baseball team. That's the difference between us.
Oh wow, okay.
Pot shot.
Ouch.
So this movie, it costs $35 million to make.
Okay.
It makes $75 million. It's not a rousing success. It makes its
like
money
total?
back. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It releases at number 4 at the box office. Mm-hmm. It's behind a slew of classics, like literally like Hall of Fame flicks.
What is it behind?
Black Hawk Down.
Okay.
A Walk to Remember.
Whoa.
And Mothman Prophecies.
Oh, man.
Have you ever seen Mothman Prophecies?
I've seen chunks of it. And
it's
scary.
I think it's really scary.
It's
like
quite thrilling.
Unnerving is what it is. It's just like the whole movie, you're like, what's going on? And then you're just like always tense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh gosh.
Really good at creating
It's never like
tension.
scary, but it's creepy.
It was scary enough for me to not want to watch the whole thing.
So some of the taglines from this movie, and actually I only have one.
Okay.
Prepare for adventure. Count on revenge.
I love it.
So the Rotten Tomatoes score on this bad boy,
Uh-huh.
it's a 73% on the critic score.
Okay.
Guess on the audience score?
I would say it should be higher for audiences.
It is.
86.
So close. 88%.
Oh,
so
you
much
don't
higher
say.
audience score.
Very good, audiences.
Here's what the consensus reads. Though it may not reach for any new artistic heights, the Count of Monte Cristo is an old-fashioned yet enjoyable swashbuckler. Ebert gives it 3 out of 4 stars.
Hey.
But here's what the New York Post, those assholes,
What'd they say?
You can count on snoozing.
What? Come on.
They're as worse as the Brits.
I mean, what I'll say is sometimes the jail scene gets a little long at times.
Yeah. So you mean just like him and Richard Harris just like hanging out learning things and like him
It just
practicing
takes,
sword fighting and scooping?
It's like a good hour of the film.
Yeah.
I feel like. And it's an important hour. But it's a long hour.
Yeah.
I think at times. I don't know what I would have tightened up.
Yeah, what would you
on that.
cut?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Don't ask me these questions. Don't ask me how to fix the problem. I just know that, like, in my sense of it, I felt like this scene's a little long.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Hey, we haven't even talked about this yet. What's this book or this story like? It's known for like one plot device that's like super clever that people have emulated that they do in like Room, and there's other movies where it's been like something happens. Should I just tell you what it is?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I was like, Rach just had the most blank stare on her face.
I'm like trying to do long division in my head right now.
about?
That's my face. Like, what? Are you? What?
There's the moment where Richard Harris dies in the jail.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Do you want to tell him? How about you tell him?
Well,
What
so
happens?
so he passes away, and they're preparing his body to go dump into the ocean, and essentially, Dantes gets the idea like, oh, I'm gonna swap bodies, and then they're gonna throw me out there, and I don't have to finish this tunnel and get outside. Like
Yep.
this is so I'm gonna. Yeah, somehow he miraculously gets the old man's body, takes it all the way back to a different cell, puts himself in there. I'll be honest, it's pretty risky though. The whole like getting thrown over the cliff, but then, I mean, they still like shackle the feet so that they stay down. So he still has to
Yep.
get the keys for it. I was like, that could have gone very poorly.
For sure.
Jim Caviezel. Like, you're lucky that worked out so well.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
yeah.
But so that's a plot device that is pretty cool, and probably the biggest thing Count of Monte Cristo is known for. Like people would be
The
like
little
revenge,
bait and
and then
switch.
there's that bait and switch thing with the dead body, like pretending to be the dead
That's
body.
pretty, and that happens in the book too. That's how he gets out.
Yep. Same
Gotcha.
thing. Yep.
Gotcha.
There have been 40 screen adaptations of this guy. I have it written down. I think I had said like 50 or a million earlier, but so 40 is the official number.
Jeez.
And I want to talk about something that was influenced. Like this is obviously a tale as old as time. This is Beauty and the Beast, right? And
Something like that.
it informed the creation of a beautiful thing, a beautiful edible thing called the Monte Cristo sandwich.
Really?
Rach, what's the Monte Cristo sandwich?
Oh, wait, did this really create that?
It absolutely did.
Okay, so hold on. It's kind of like a grilled peanut butter and jelly with powdered sugar on the outside of it.
So there,
Or is it maybe not peanut butter?
no, it's like I got like a raspberry. I think it's like
a raspberry filling.
a raspberry kind of sauce.
It might also be a deep fried sandwich. Now that I think
Yes.
about it.
Well, and so I have written down that some people just make it a ham, turkey, and Swiss.
Oh, okay.
That's the Monte Cristo. But there's this
oh yeah,
sweet,
the savory kind.
there's this sweet Monte Cristo that we built one time. I was pitching like this Monte Cristo musical, Count of Monte Cristo musical for my class, and I brought like as a producer, I brought all these Monte Cristo sandwiches, and those ones, yeah, they had like raspberry jelly on them, and they were supposed to have a meat. I don't think we did a meat. I think I just did
think so.
Nutella or something on it to like make it a PB and J kind of.
That's what we did.
So yeah, there's the sweet and the savory version, but the Monte Cristo sandwich, before like the 1920s, I think, or no, before the 40s, it was just called the French sandwich.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people just said like, yeah, I want one of those French sandwiches. And I'm like, oh, you mean like turkey, ham, and Swiss? And I'm like, yeah, that's the one. And then these, like the movie that came out in like the late 30s became super popular.
Okay.
And then there were all these other adaptations, and people were kind of rediscovering the Count of Monte Cristo, and they're like, oh, this is awesome. So then they named it, instead of the French sandwich, like a French dip.
I love
They were
that.
like, let's call it the Monte Cristo sandwich.
I love it. I thought it was something to be like, because it's in a disguise, and you bite into this like deep fried thing, but then there's meat and cheese in it, or yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, I like your way too. It's like they're wrapped up in like a dead little coffin thing or little clothes and break free. It's meat. So I just have like a bunch of moments to talk about in the movie.
I think that's where I have too. It's just like random
Okay.
moments I want to.
So I'll just bring up
to.
some moments and we can talk about it. What do you think about the whole king of the moment?
Oh, that's one of the moments I wrote down.
Kings to me. Yours is a life truly blessed, Edmond.
So their king of the moment thing. So the two best friends in this, they have like this thing going where they carry a pawn piece, a chess pawn piece.
Oh, it's a king, I think.
Oh, king,
Yep.
a king piece between each other. And anytime one of them has like good luck or
A great victory.
that person gets to hold on to the king piece, and you say they're your king of the moment.
Yep.
So they pass
Kings
it back
to
and
you.
forth. Kings to you. Oh, kings to you. So they do that a couple of times in the beginning of the movie. But then it comes back in like really like fun
Yep.
ways later on when he's like not knowing exactly who the count is, and then it's kings to you. It's like, oh, now you know, I bet.
So I have a question about Villefort.
Okay.
About the politician guy.
Yeah.
Whose dad is a Napoleon supporter. It's never been clear to me, even now, when I've seen this movie a million times, but this happened in Braveheart where you brought something up, and I was like, oh my God, I've watched this movie 1,000 times. I never thought about it. So, does he know what he's going to do when Edmund comes into his office. Here's what we know. Here's what the movie tells us. They show us this moment that apparently his best friend sees Napoleon give him the letter. He tells the ship guy, who's like the ugly dude, who's like another one of the conspirators. He's like, Napoleon gave him this letter. He's hiding things from me. And he's like, oh, we can get him in trouble for this. And then I won't have to lose my job to this guy. Yeah. And so they like become conspirators together. And then they go to the politician and they're like, hey, he's got this letter for Napoleon. You should arrest him. Like we kind of get that that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And so then Villefort brings him in, the politician guy. He's like, okay, Edmund, you're under arrest. I'm bringing you in. Let me see that letter. Apparently there's this treasonous letter. He reads it. He's like, oh, okay, all right. Then there's a moment where he says, you're a fool, but you're not guilty.
No. It's you that's innocent. Foolish and innocent.
Like, I can tell you're not guilty. And then he is going to let him go. And then he asks him a question. He goes, who'd you say this letter was going to? And he says,
Clarion.
Yes, Clarion.
Monsieur Clarion.
And he goes, come back in or whatever and sit down, and he burns the letter. So did Villefort, was he not going to go along with the conspirators' plan for a sec? He was just going to be like, okay, it's all good. Your buddies wanted to get in major trouble, but you're fine. You're going to be okay.
Yeah. I think he was actually a good dude until his dad got brought into it, and then he's like,
oh shit.
Now you forced my hand in this.
Okay.
I think he was going to let him go until he found out who the letter was for.
Yes. And then they have a kind of a scene afterwards where his best friend meets with the politician guy, and they're like, oh, I get why you wanted to betray him now because his betrothed is really super hot. And then they talk about like how Fernand's going to kill his dad and stuff to get rid of his problem. So, but none of that would have happened.
Yeah, I don't think so. I believe
that was all just bad luck.
Bad luck.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
how I've always leaned too. But then there was part of me that's like, am I supposed to think that this was preordained? Like no matter what this was going to happen, they're kind of playing with him, toying with him?
I mean, maybe. That sounds a lot of work.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so we're on the same page there.
That's my thoughts anyways.
I want you to rank the three baddies. Who's the worst of our three?
The best friend is the worst of the three.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who's second worst? Politician or ship guy?
Probably the ship guy, because I think we just explained why the politician actually probably wasn't a bad guy, but really comes around and he just needed to protect his dad and himself, obviously. But yeah, and obviously he does some other shady stuff after that, like with some smuggling and whatnot. But the other two are just straight up bad, not motivated by anything but bad.
They're motivated by bad.
They're motivated by being bad.
Who do you think gets off the easiest?
With
the revenges.
Well,
do you want to run through the three revenges?
Well, one of them gets hung. Oh wait, no, he gets cut down before.
Yeah, he says cut him down before he can't talk.
Don't they all end up probably going somewhere pretty crazy though? Don't you think they all go to jail? Because none of them die.
Fernand gets run through.
Yeah,
he dies.
He dies.
Best friend dies.
Maybe that's the best. Maybe he gets off easiest because he doesn't have to go to jail for forever.
Oh, okay. Can we talk about the politician when he gets his comeuppance?
Yeah.
There's this scene in a sauna that's really good, and the police are hiding in the steam, and then he clears the steam after he gets him to confess to his crimes. And then he goes into the carriage just like Edmund did, and there's a gun sitting there.
Oh, that's right.
And he takes the gun, Villefort does, and he puts it in his mouth and clicks it. And then what happens, Rach?
There's no bullet. It doesn't go.
Nope. And the Count appears like a comic moment in this movie that Rach and I both laugh at, which I think is supposed to be kind of funny. He pops into this window and he goes, "You didn't think I'd make it that easy, did you?"
You didn't think I'd make it that easy, did you?
Oh, so good.
So good.
Oh, yes. Hey, did you notice how everybody's teeth got worse throughout the movie, but Edmund's teeth get better?
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
All the bad guys' teeth? What about Mercedes' teeth?
No, Mercedes has great teeth throughout. She's beautiful.
I think being a good person gives you good teeth.
Yeah, maybe that's what it kind of is.
I think so.
Yeah. But as Edmund, when he gets all that money, he cleans up his teeth act as well. Starts brushing.
Don't you love the way that she figures out that it's him?
You go ahead and tell the people how she figures it out.
So Edmund has this tick that he does where he like twirls his hair.
Which don't we all? When our hair's long, don't we all kind of mess with it a little bit? I know I do.
Did you start? So Ty does this exact same thing. The little piece of hair, like right behind his ear, especially when it gets a little long. That's how I know he.
I'm not
wants a
doing it right
haircut.
now.
No, you're not doing it right now.
But I will in about a month.
I think you're wanting to.
4 weeks.
Did you do this before this film, or is this a tick that you picked up after this film?
Oh, I didn't know. Are we calling each other out for things
I'm
now?
not calling it out. I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, did you
now very
look like
much-
Julia Roberts before my best friend's wedding?
It's now
you can't help genetics, can you?
Very ingratiated into your person. Now I don't. It's very much in your fiber, but like, did you see that and think like, huh, maybe I'll twirl my hair?
Who knows? I was so impressionable. It's very possible. I don't remember the answer to this question.
That's fair.
But if you made me put money on, did you do this before this movie or not? I'd probably put the money on no.
I love it. But yeah, so he has this tick of twirling his hair, and she sees the Count twirl his hair at a party, and she's like, oh, it's you.
It's you.
Because she always says, you're going to go bald. Don't do that.
Yep. Yep. What'd you think of the toast?
Oh, yeah. So there is a toast scene at Albert's birthday. Albert, again, is Mercedes and Dantes's love child. But he is turning 16, having a birthday party, and the dad is supposed to give a toast. The dad, who at this point we think is Fernand, but he's away on business meeting right now. So Mercedes stands up. She's going to try to give the toast, but she's a woman, so she can't talk. She no talk good.
Well, to be fair, she's not educated either.
Sure. Yeah, talking's hard. I agree. But then, luckily, the Count of Monte Cristo jumps in and saves her and then gives the toast instead, which is very, very sweet, very chivalrous.
The toast
right?
is so good. You'll find yourself stranded on the rocks one moment and basking in the sun the next. What makes you a man is what you do when you stare into that storm.
Life is a storm, my young friend. You will bask in the sunlight one moment, be shattered on the rocks the next. What makes you a man is what you do when that storm comes. You must look into that storm and shout as you did in Rome. Do your worst, for I will do mine. Then the fates will know you as we know you. As Albert Mondego, the man.
You do have it memorized.
Some of it. I used to have it in my monologue book.
Oh,
right next to the Braveheart freedom speech. You know?
Yeah. All the essentials.
Yeah, it's an essential speech.
Essential speech.
Now you know what I have. I actually have a speech from the book in my monologue book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
A little lesser known.
Mm-hmm. But like this one's really well known. You're like, oh, you're gonna do the movie speech? Nobody knows. Not many people know this movie.
That's true.
Rach, can we talk about? There's so many like will they, won't they moments between Mercedes and Edmund when he's the Count, and she sees him, and at first she's like, oh my God, you look so hot, and then they waltz. And during the waltz, they're like having kind of sexy talk. And then he saves her during the speech, the toast. And she's like, oh, wow. And then they have the carriage moment. She's in the carriage and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kiss you on your mouth. You're so sexy. And then the final moment, the bedroom scene.
The bedroom scene.
Yeah, when he comes home. And she's in his bedroom.
Yeah, later on.
Yes.
Yeah.
How sexy is that, Rach?
Oh, it's romantic is what it is. Because then he can kind of confronts her on like because she talks about the hair twirling thing. So she says like, I know who you are.
And she says, you couldn't be my dear Edmund earlier when they're in the carriage. And he goes, there, you said it yourself. Edmund Dantes is dead.
You're right. You cannot be my Edmund.
Oh, there you are. You said it yourself. Edmond Dantes is dead. Good night.
Yeah.
And so he gives himself away because he says Dantes.
He said the whole name. She didn't say it.
He's like, I never said his name was Edmond Dantes.
But then in when the bedroom scene, when she goes to his house to confront him one last time, she shows him her finger. And what does she have on her finger?
Oh my gosh, I almost die every time. She has a ring. A ring that he gave her. Well, okay, the beginning of the movie. Rach, what happens on the beach? He goes, I swear, now that with this new job, within 6 months, I'll have money to buy a ring. And she says,
I don't need a ring. This will be my ring.
Yeah.
And she takes off a little thread from her skirt and she wraps it around her finger and just ties it. A little piece of thread. She's like, I'll never take it off.
She says, you'll never see this off my finger.
We don't have to wait 2 years anymore. As soon as I can afford the ring, we'll
I don't
wed.
need a ring. I don't. This'll be my ring. And no matter what happens, you will never see it off my finger. Ever.
And she doesn't.
She leaves it on.
When he sees her again in the bedroom, she has it still on. She's like, this never left my finger, you asshole. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've been such a dick. I love you.
Why did you not come to me?
Why did you not wait? You married the very man who betrayed.
I told you that night on the rocks. Remember? That it would never leave my finger. And it never has.
And then they love each other.
Oh, and then they
So
make
romantic.
they make sweet, sweet, succulent love. So the lighting in that scene with the bed, so they're like, the way it's framed, it's beautiful. It's like an ultra wide shot. Not ultra wide, it's just a wide. And they're on both sides of this window, and the window is open. It's like the moon is coming in through the window. It's this beautifully lit shot that I'm always like, oh, this is stunning. This whole moment is just stunning. I love it.
It's a beautiful moment.
Rach says it's okay.
Well, I feel like there's like, and maybe I'm wrong in this, I feel like there's like a fog machine or something going on.
Oh, I'm sure
Doesn't
there
it seem
is.
like a little misty?
Yeah,
at the
everything
moment,
is
too?
foggy in the romantic era.
Oh, okay.
It's all fog.
Yeah. But the kiss,
Have you seen
though-
Hunchback of Notre Dame? Fog, baby. So much fog. Fog rolling in all the time.
Yes, the kiss, though, the silhouetted kiss is, buckle your knees.
Yes.
So swoonable.
Yes. Not only sword buckling, but buckled
Knee
knees as well.
buckling as
Knee
well.
buckling. That's so
That's
good.
great. Don't forget that. That's great for the write-up.
Rach, what else do you have?
Those are my big things.
Oh my gosh, we
I
hit all the big points.
wanted ring, hair twirling, king of the moment. We got those. You have anything?
Let's talk a little acting.
Okay.
What'd you think of the acting?
I thought it was great.
I do too.
I don't have any complaints. For
I
anybody.
literally have zero complaints for any actors. Like Luis Guzman, who plays Jacopo, who is like the servant guy who starts off as a pirate with him and then becomes like his best man. And like there's a little bit of things that like kind of take you a tiny bit out of the period with him.
Sure.
But like, I don't know, I kind of like him. He's supposed to be different. I mean, he's a freaking pirate. Like he's going to be different than
He's a pirate.
these 19th century merchant guys and stuff. Like it's not going to be the same.
Yeah. No, I think
So I like it.
across the board, I think everyone's pretty solid in it. I wouldn't swap anybody out for anyone.
Did it bother you that they have English accents instead of French?
No, because not everybody does. Sometimes that's just what you do
Yeah.
when you have heightened, elevated status. You know, everybody, and you're in a foreign country, you just have an English accent.
Well, and Edmund doesn't really have any accent.
Yeah, he
He
doesn't
kind of just
have
does heightened
any.
American, which
Yeah.
never bothers me.
And Mercedes doesn't have a French accent, but she does have some sort of an accent.
She
doesn't
kind of
she?
just talks like this. Like,
Edmund.
it's been a while. I'm on the older side, but I'm young and beautiful.
Yeah, she sounds like an old lady. a
Yeah,
little
she
bit.
kind of does. When you listen to her, she does.
Yeah, I never think of that to bother me. Maybe it should though.
No, it doesn't bother me at all.
Nope.
Rach,
Yep.
it's
Are
time.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Tis time.
I'm ready. I'm sweating bullets over here. I'm so
Woo!
nervous.
Why don't be nervous. You care a lot about this movie.
I do.
I know. It's very important to you. What do you have this as?
This movie is 100%.
100%.
This movie is third on my top 5. It sometimes has occupied the first spot. It usually occupies spot number 3 after Lord of the Rings and Braveheart.
Number 3. All right. When Ty showed me this movie 12 years ago, I should have known then that he was a hopeless romantic. I should have also known his obsession with sword fighting and all things France. If that appeals to you, this deserves a watch. 88%.
Oh, you're right on par with the
I'm
audience.
right on par with the audience.
What?
I thought, well, that's a fun number.
How cool is that?
Yes, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. It's a great film.
It's
It's very good.
And folks, a lot of you have not probably seen this movie.
Yeah.
Unless you caught it like when it first came out, but it is worth a watch.
I would agree.
Yep. It's gonna be a good time.
You know what's maybe not worth a watch, but maybe just for fun, do it anyways because we're gonna pot about it next week.
Ooh, where are you going with this?
My next film for us. Now we are back to the format
New
where
ones.
we have new ones. You've not seen this film, I don't think, or if you have, you saw it once and you don't remember it.
Okay.
This is the one I'm maybe least proud of this season.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be a good time to do
Oh,
it.
I have a couple of those coming up.
I know you do. I know you do. I like the other two I have, but this one will be interesting.
Okay.
We're going to watch the classic Olsen and Olsen dynamic duo movie, It Takes Two.
Okay.
Yeah. Enjoy. Come back.
Join their group, and then they're gonna work to monetize our podcast for us. And I say no.
Hold on. Something to think about, though.
No, nothing to think about. Hey, we got a slight little problem here. You guys decided to do Count of Monte Cristo, and that doesn't get as many viewers as my best friend's wedding.
It's true. And they wouldn't like us that we're just in the summer. They'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not going to work for us in our business model. We're going to need you to pump it out all the
We
time.
need more Safe Haven. Safe Haven killed it. We need more.
On it. I'm on it.
Hey, do you ever look back on the episodes that do crazy well and you're like, who are these people?